you're never gonna make it? Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Or will you fucking fight back? You ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not thinking straight, kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore. I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds, talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more speak out. It's about to head south. Never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
Okay, so we are finally live. I was so eager that we went live a minute ago. Okay guys, welcome to my stream. We have Raunak with us from UpLiv Show. I have mentioned his channel link in the description, and today we are going to talk about a man who's a MTV breakdancer, who's a Guinness World Record holder in tango, and an author and an angel investor, and the achievement goes on and on. We are going to talk about Tim Ferriss. And of course, we don't have Tim Ferriss on our stream, so I have brought you Tim Ferriss light version, Raunak Shah.
Oh my god.
Raunak Shah on our stream.
Awesome.
Welcome Raunak on our stream. So guys,
thank you for having me.
Yeah. So before we start the stream, like, I would like to ask you, Raunak, what is this UpLiv Show about? Like, what's your goal with this channel? Just tell our audience.
Alright, so UpLiv, as the name suggests, is a channel holistically focused on improving the quality of your life.
Yeah.
And it has multiple elements to the YouTube channel, but our podcast is primarily focused on failures, on mistakes, and other realities on the journey of life. So no success allowed, no fake positivity allowed. Only real stories of real people and what you can learn from them.
Yeah, so he exactly gave you the reason why we are going to resonate, because my channel is about skill learning. Cut the bullshit, cut the fake positivity, and just the real shit, right? So I would like strongly recommend, guys, after this stream, go to his channel and subscribe. At least give him 500 subscribers, man. This is really bad, because there's a lot of bullshit on YouTube, including my channel. And there's some YouTubers like Raunak who give you valuable content, which if you apply in your life, will drastically improve your life, because it's always not about hard work, guys. Like, you have to be smart sometime, and that's what we are going to talk about in this stream.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so let's see who we have on a stream. Ritvik. Till now I can only see Ritvik. Hi man, how are you?
Yeah, Ritvik is there.
Yeah. So as I said, I can't expect more people, but
that's okay. They'll come. I'm sure they'll come.
The notification goes very late to the people.
That's cool.
So, buddy.
So, do you want to start with an introduction of Tim Ferriss, so that, like, if anybody doesn't know who he is?
Just a sec.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. You can introduce.
Okay, so Tim Ferriss is one of the most interesting people I've ever come across in my life. In fact, if I ask anyone on the chat right now, just type in who do you think Tim Ferriss is, because
Yeah.
that's going to be such an interesting answer, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone's going to have a different answer, and all those answers in some way are going to be right.
All right.
And that's the kind of man Tim Ferriss is, right? So
Yeah.
from where I know about his story, because I've been following him for very long, is Tim Ferriss first he started off as an investor, as an angel investor. So he decided that he was not going to spend his money on an MBA. Instead, he was going to go for a real world MBA, which we'll also talk about in the live
In the
stream,
live stream.
Where he spent his money in angel investing in like micro amounts in different startups in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And that's when he learned about business, and he started building his valuation in terms of his portfolio management, his overall portfolio.
Yeah.
Then he started his own company, which was like a nutrition supplements company, and he ran that for quite some time until he had a mental breakdown. He couldn't handle his business. He lost his girlfriend because of the whole mess. He
Yeah.
was losing out on sleep. His health was suffering. He was in a horrible space. And then eventually he said that this is too much. I'm just going to, stop. And of course, like he was always reading books and learning more and all of that. And he decided that this is not going to work, boss. I need to do something else. And he completely changed the way he manages his business, which was the birth of the 4-hour work week, which we'll be talking about in detail.
In detail.
Once that happened, then he decided that this is what I've found is going to be crazy. I want to share it with more people. So he decided to write a book on it, and it became a New York Times bestseller. So 4-hour work week is of course a superb book. A lot of people have read it. A lot of entrepreneurs have read it. A lot of venture capitalists advised to read that book.
Yeah.
And that is one area of his story that really put him on the map as an author. Then he decides that then he writes another book which was on his fitness transformation called 4-Hour Body. At the same time he was building his newsletter and his following and all of that. Then what happens is he launches a book called 4-Hour Chef. And very interestingly, I don't think like a lot of people know, but usme like what happened in that is he decided to give distribution rights to Amazon, which pissed off all the other book libraries and like other booksellers. So they banned his book. So for the longest time, you could only buy the book on Amazon, which really plummeted his sales. So he went into a mild depressive phase at that point of time. And that's when he decided, I want to start something different, which gave birth to the Tim Ferriss Show, which is his podcast. It was planned to be only 6 episodes, but they went phenomenally well. And now we all know him as the Oprah Winfrey of podcasts. So that is Tim Ferriss in a nugget.
Yeah. And there are like several aspects of his life, and the aspects that I am amazed about is the way he learns skills and way he deconstructs skills. And that's what I'm really fascinated about, and that's what we talk about in my channel. So my very first question to you, Raunak, is that when was the first time you encountered Tim Ferriss, and what was your first reaction?
Bro, I think you got cut in the middle.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah. So my first question is like, when was your first time when you encountered Tim Ferriss, and what was your first reaction?
When was my first time? Okay, that's a while back. I think my first encounter with Tim Ferriss was through his podcast only.
Yeah.
It was one of his episodes. I don't even remember which one because his episodes are very varied. But that is what really got me interested in him. And that's when, I started discovering more about him. In fact, I read his book also quite late. So my first encounter was the kind of like the depth in which he asked the questions, right? Most of the people in any kind of podcast is very niche. So they only ask questions like pertaining to that niche. But Tim Ferriss is the guy. He can talk about fitness, he can talk about investments, he can talk about business, he can talk about art and poetry, he can talk about like any kind of spirituality and meditation. So he has a very broad range of experiences, and the way he asks his questions with the professionality, and also adding his own value, plus he summarizes also things in the middle, right? So if I'm a host and I'm asking you a question, I'll summarize your answer in a bit. So that was my experience, that this guy is a great podcaster. And then that's how I discovered more about him.
So you just gave me a tip. So I'll summarize what he just said. So he's just
Perfect.
yeah, he's actually a multi-dimensional conversationalist. He has experience, like he has experienced of whole lot of things, guys. Whole lot of things.
Yeah.
So he can guide you in multiple ways. That's what he just said. If I'm not wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what basically intrigued me in this guy is that so as you know, I am in a competitive field of football and I play it competitively, and here the main thing is about doing things efficiently, learning skills faster and saving your time. So this was the man who actually got me into this world of faster learning and how you can just deconstruct things and just cut out the bullshit and just do the essential things. So that's the one thing that fascinated, and I've always seen his podcast on skill learning and things around that. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So the thing is, to add to your point also, that even my initial interaction when I started knowing more about him, even when you read his book, right, the first chapter of the book also, it talks about, I mean, the way he's written the book is everything that he does is contrarian. It just breaks common knowledge. Like
Yeah.
if you tell him that you can't do something, he'll just not believe it. If you tell him that if it should take you 2 months to learn something, he'll do it in 10 days. If you tell him it takes you 2 years to build the business, he'll build it in 2 months, right? So he's just the entire person. The way he's built his persona is he's not going to accept rules that other people have already set. So everything that he
Exactly.
does is sort of based on what you said, that speed, execution, perfection, just breaking common knowledge in different ways. So it's very fascinating.
And I would just love to talk about the way he deconstructs things, and we'll talk about his skill learning aspect in
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
future in this podcast. So we'll just firstly talk about the first aspect about his life. Like I've seen in this TED talk also that he generally talks about this concept of fear. So generally when you listen to the word fear, it's like it's the thing which is debilitating and which stops you from doing something, right? But how Tim Ferriss puts it, like fear sometimes can be a driving force or tell you exactly what you should be doing. So can you just expand on this idea and tell what Tim Ferriss actually means when he talks about fear?
Okay, sure. So just for background, Tim Ferriss on his YouTube channel has his first video is a TED talk which he did on fear. He gave a brilliant conversation, a brilliant speech on fear setting. So what he explains about fear is that more than it being a force to drive you, the way he talks about fear is that it is an indication, or it's like a GPS to find out where your insecurities are, what you are afraid of, and what you can do about it so that you can maintain your mental balance. So the entire concept of his concept of fear setting, I'm probably butchering it, but he does it a lot better. But what he says is that first you define all your fears. Talk about exactly what you're scared about to the very detail. This is what that's why he also recommends writing a lot, right? Start with a fear. Like let's say I am scared of my business failing, for example. Why are you scared of that? What do you call like a business failure? What are you really afraid of? What do you think will happen? What needs to happen in your life for you to feel like a failure? Ask those questions, find out what you're really afraid of. The next step is now make a contingency plan. Now make a plan that if all of this happens, if my I think he calls it your personal hell, right? If your personal hell comes in front of you, this is your darkness, this is your death, like this is the one thing that you're afraid of, that you feel like, why am I living this life? If all of those things happen to you in front of you, now how will you deal with it? So assume your business fails, assume you lose the money, assume it doesn't work out, and now work backwards on how you can like maintain a decent life, if not a very successful life after that. So what you're essentially doing is you're finding the root cause of your insecurities, and you're using your rational mind to get rid of those insecurities. Because this is also what he talks about, right? That fear is a subconscious trigger. It's like the primal brain that's talking, but your rational mind, which is your neocortex, needs to override that fear. That needs to override fear. So what he explains is that try to explain your fear to yourself, and then explain a way out of that fear also. So this is a short summary of what he calls fear setting. So he doesn't talk about goal setting. He's like, goal setting is a whole different topic, but what's more important when you're starting a new thing, be it a YouTube channel or be it yeah, or an entrepreneurship, like a venture or anything that you're afraid of, right? Even if you're asking a girl out, fear set yourself. Like if you're so scared of what will happen if she says no, ask yourself what will happen if she says no, right? Nothing
Yeah.
major. And now you're automatically shielding yourself to what the consequences will be, and you can go ahead with a stable frame of mind as compared to, you know, anxiety all over the place.
Exactly. But you know, like, what's the flaw in here? Like, what the flaw that I find here is that most of the people don't function mainly with their prefrontal cortex. I mean, the conscious part. Most of them are functioning on the level where the subconscious triggers, they are functioning on the subconscious level. So that's the only thing that I found. Right. So the only way out here is that you have to gain awareness of what you're doing, what your habits are, what your triggers are. Yeah, that's the only way out, and you can follow the Tim's method. So we'll just look into the chat. There's something for you, Raunak.
Yeah,
so
that's what I just saw that. So there's one question
identity
on
for
luck,
us.
right? Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
He's asking, so your videos on luck, why do you believe in luck, and what are the metrics by which you define luck? Before articulating. Okay, fine. So
just a sec. I would just like to interrupt. Ritvik, Tim Ferriss is not a guy of 20 hours rule. That guy is Josh Kaufman. Tim Ferriss is a guy who has written 4-hour work week and many other books like that. So we'll talk about Josh Kaufman sometime later. Today it's all about Tim Ferriss. Can this fear setting technique lead to compromising in our goal? Yeah, Raunak.
Okay, so can it lead to compromising your goal? Now this is interesting because it might seem like it does, right? It might seem like you're not really like in a way completely committing to it, but the reality is that, like, the reason why we are so influenced by overcommitting to a goal is because we only see the people who are successful. We don't see the people who are unsuccessful. So what it means is that suppose your goal is to earn, let's say, $100,000, but you are not able to, but in order to earn that money you have to risk everything that you have. Maybe it is not a very wise thing to do. It might seem very, motivational as such, but it's not a wise thing to do. Instead of that, if you can invest only a part of your money and maybe earn 50,000-60,000, it's a better bet. So it might seem like you're you're sort of compensating for your goal. But you're actually being more intelligent, right? Because only when you know that if all hell breaks loose, I'll still be okay, only then can you gain the mental like a sanity to actually act.
And like,
otherwise,
continue.
So otherwise, if you're going all in, it's like a poker table, right? You're very scared, you're extremely anxious, and that affects your performance, which is not very good.
And
so that's why.
And another thing is that if you break down your goals into milestones, after earning that 50 to 60,000, you can also increase your potential, right? So in long term, I think so the goal would be compromised.
Exactly.
Even
in fact, the way you explained is perfect, because it's not only about it's not just about earning how much you want in what time. It's about building your capacity to earn that also. So you mentioned, you earn the 60,000 and then you go for the 100,000 after that, which makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. So you answering identity for us question.
Yes, correct. So luck. Okay, why do I believe in luck? The reason I believe in luck is because it happens, right? It is a very important factor.
Yes.
We are taught not to focus on luck because it's not in our control, but there are many things that are not in our control which still influence you. So it is not that eliminating luck is good. You have to accept it as a reality of your life. At times you will be lucky, at times you will not be lucky, at times your competitors will be lucky, but that's just the way the world works, and being aware of it will help you take advantage of it. So this is why I believe in luck. Now, what are the factors on how you define luck? That's what I mentioned in my video also. On a very simple element, it is on two factors. One is probability of it happening for you, and the second is how much of it you can control, right? Because like I mentioned, if it's completely brand new, if it's not under your control and it has low probability, it's like a blind luck system. But the more control you have over it and the more probability, the better that type of luck is. So that was my intention on actually making that video. And that's also not my concept, it's from Mark and, and naval ravikant. So just to give them credits.
man, it was, that video on luck was really amazing. So yeah, so we were talking about fear, right? So you're done with
Yes.
fear, or you wanted to expand more on that idea?
So this is one concept of what he talks about in fear setting, which is his most dominant aspect. Otherwise, he has a lot of experiences also that he has with fear, because he used to have anxiety in college. In fact, he's had a few suicidal notes also. He's had suicidal experiences also. But this is the most dominant form of what he talks about on fear, which I wanted to share. If there's any other more specific question, then we can go into that.
No. There's one more question from Identity Faraz. He's asking, what's your definition of luck on most primitive level?
On most primitive level, now I'm not sure what you mean by primitive level, but I'm assuming you mean on a basic level.
Yeah.
So basic level is what it means. So anything that happens that was not completely under your control or that was not planned by you is luck, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like something external. It's like I didn't expect this to happen for me, or I didn't work for it, but I still got it, right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
in that sense, it's a luck. So for example, you bump into someone famous in the elevator, and now they become a guest for your podcast. So that's a luck, because you didn't decide who's going to be there in the elevator.
But then
That's one.
so what you're saying is that you can create the highest amount of probability of you going into that lift,
Yes,
or
exactly. That's what.
putting yourself into that
Yes.
situation where you can meet such people.
Absolutely.
So
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
That is the way. So you control how many times you enter the elevator and how well you are at communication, but you can't control who else is there in the elevator. So it is a kind of luck,
Exactly, yeah.
but it is partly under your control. So it's a good kind of luck in that sense.
So
that's how
I
would
think so. I
explain
think
it.
so. It's matter of language. Like some people would call this also an effort.
It is an effort. It is an effort. Absolutely.
It is an effort. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is see, like the way the way I look at luck is that it's not completely under your control. If you study for an exam,
yeah.
and you've studied everything in the syllabus, that's in your control, right? This was not under your control,
So-
because even if you enter the elevator, you
Yeah.
can't decide who's there.
So
that's
so
why.
the way I look at it is like there are things that you need to do for directly affecting to your goal. Like there are some obvious things that you need to do, and then there are some things which are surrounding to that stuff, which are indirectly affecting your success. So what you call as that luck, the second the other three type of luck are I call it as the indirect methods of affecting your success. Indirect efforts,
Absolutely.
basically. Yeah.
Correct.
So so do we have
Okay,
any
there were-
other
there were two other-
questions?
Like, I think Ritvik asked the question, but then he deleted
He
it.
retracted it.
I read the question. Do you want to take that up?
What was the question?
So no, it was fine. It was about
Okay.
how do you learn a skill in 6 months? How do you learn any skill in 6 months?
Man, we are going to come on it, because Tim Ferriss,
Huh.
I think so, has talked about it in one of his videos. I've seen it. So yeah, we'll talk about it later. But before that, I would like to ask, what is this 4-hour work week? Like finally we'll come to
Okay.
this point. What is this 4-hour work
Awesome.
week? Explain.
All right, so I will explain you what the concept is first, and then we'll break down what the book is about. So the 4-hour work week is Tim Ferriss's method of explaining and sharing his journey of how you can completely control a business or a venture or a source of income of your own
Yeah.
just by spending 4 hours in a week. So what he calls it as is that it is, so everything that we do, what we call work, in some way or the other, for most of us, unless you're a billionaire, is a means to an end, right? So that we can earn money and we can live our life with that.
Exactly.
So that is the underlying intention, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you enjoy the work that you do. That's one aspect, but
Yeah.
generally, right? That's the intention. So what he tries to explain is that you can completely manage your entire finances and live a very decent life, not even a very poor life, but a decent life, just by spending 4 hours of your week working, and the rest of the time you can literally do whatever you want, right? Anything that comes to your mind, and your monetary capacity, your finances will completely be handled by just 4 hours in a week. So that's the concept that he talks.
Yeah.
So now do you want to get like deeper into it?
Yeah, obviously we need to get deeper. So like I have
Okay.
the lazy person I have just seen the summary of that book, and which said that so it gave two examples: a person who earned $30,000 a week a year, and a person who earned $150 a year. And but the person who earned $150 a year lived in a very expensive city, whereas the person who person who earned $30,000 a year lived in a very cheaper city. So even though this guy, the guy who's earning $150,000, let's consider him as person B. So person B is earning more, he is spending more, right? So relatively person A is much more richer than person B. So that's what I understood from that book. So you just get deeper in that.
Okay, so this is the first point that he talks about. It's called geographical economics. What he explains is that how much money you have is not just dependent on your income, right? It is income minus expense.
Sure.
So when you subtract the expenses from your income, what is left is what you have to use or to invest or to save. So the expense part cannot be completely in a way neglected from the income part. So what he explains is that if someone is living in a like a very moderate place, let's say some place in Brazil, you can have a very good quality life with a low income because the expense of living itself is low.
Exactly.
But the same person who is staying in Manhattan or New York has for like a small apartment in Manhattan is killing expensive, right?
Exactly.
Because it's Manhattan, right? So just because the area is expensive, you have to pay more. So it's like a vicious circle, right? So in a way,
and plus you're not living the luxurious life that you want if you're Exactly, because the way he explains it is that you're like if you're working for a job, how much you're paid is not just dependent on how much work you do. It's also dependent on what that average salary of that area is. So if you go to Manhattan, they will have to pay you like a certain amount of money, but that's not really yours. They are paying you because you're staying in Manhattan. So whatever you're getting is going to go anyways in just because of the expenses. Whereas if you stay in some place like Brazil for that matter, or you stay someplace in South Africa, right, or like any other like place in Europe, right? There, because the expenses are so less, whatever you make on your own is really yours. Because expense itna nahi hai. So that is the way he explains geographical economics. So like we have some interesting questions. Guys, before that I would like to just say that your questions are seen later in our stream because there is a latency gap between us and the chat. So if we answer your question late, don't just leave the video, because we will answer, because so we'll take the first question. Things which we cannot control, can't it be the part of plan B, unknown scenario, and plan A is what you can control, and why we are keeping luck as some probability? So identity for us, like I would first like to clarify is that it's just a matter of language. Some person can call it as luck, or you can call it as a plan B, right? This is my answer. Like now Raunak will expand on it.
Okay, so I will explain myself first, but I think I didn't explain myself well. So when I say probability, I don't mean probability of the luck actually working out in your favor. I'm talking about the probability of the luck happening in your life. So if you put it in plan A and plan B, let's say plan A is what you are going to focus on. That's absolutely right. But sometimes plan B might work more for you, provided if it has an element of luck. So you can look at it if with respect to plan A and plan B. Let's say plan A you believe is 100% going to happen. Plan B might be only 60% because it has a factor of luck. But the returns of plan B will be a lot better. So it's the probability of that luck entering your life, not what the luck does. That is a whole different conversation. That is not really it can't be put in as a factor of luck, because then it depends on you. Like if you go to the elevator and you don't talk to the guest because you're nervous, that's not the elevator's fault, right? It's not luck. Then you're scared.
Exactly.
So wo alag conversation. That's a whole different conversation. This is about how much probability of the luck entering your life. So that's what I meant by saying the concept of probability of luck.
Okay, so another question is like one basic question to both of you. As you guys are sharing the concepts of theory of Tim Ferriss, have you practically tried any one of them? What was the result? firstly I would like to answer. See, I have mentioned that I am a lazy person and I haven't even read the book. So purpose of this live stream is like I and my viewers learn things together about the different concept, different thoughts. So I take different digestible toolkits from different personalities and give it to you and apply myself in my life too. So if you say have I applied it, yes, I have applied it, especially the Tim Ferriss, the things that he says about deconstructing the skill. Yes, I have applied it. Now Raunak, your turn.
Okay, so absolutely valid question. I think it's very important to talk about the application. Otherwise, theories can go on and on. So
Exactly.
I like that question. Now the point is,
Yeah.
have I applied it? Yes, I have. In two very specific ways. One is for our body, which we might get to like a bit later in the stream. But just to give you this answer, he talks about this thing called slow carb eating. So the whole world of diets is filled with this keto or no keto. Either people like they either are fond of keto or they're against keto. What he talks is not about zero carb or no carb or ye to carbs. What he talks about is slow carbs. So
Okay.
have the only good quality of carbs in your life,
Okay.
and you can do that for a consistent basis. So I've not been very strict about it, but that is one thing that I have applied and I continue to apply it. It has done wonders for my body. This is not a fitness stream, otherwise I would have shown you my entire body transformation also, but it has been very it's very good, and that is one part of the book which I recommend everybody to always implement, which is slow carbs. So
Exactly.
having good quality carbs which take a long time to digest in your body.
So like which do not spike your insulin so easily.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
So the refined sugars. So the everybody
Yes.
can do this one basic thing, like avoid refined sugar, avoid the white stuff, uh, and processed stuff. So we have one more question that I didn't understand this question. Which guy is doing good, the Manhattan guy?
Okay,
or
but
the
bro, I think we
workplace
didn't
one?
complete that other answer.
Which?
So the theory, like the one he was asking about the entire theory. So this is one thing that we've applied.
Okay.
The other thing that
Yeah.
I've also applied is for our work week concept on how you can sort of maintain, or you can start some new venture or some new thing on your own by only putting 4 hours a week. So that is something that I'm absolutely implementing right now. So I can't give you the results of it,
That's
but
what
once
said.
I do.
Tim Ferriss light version.
So once I do get some results which are tangible, because at this point I can't really call myself a successful YouTuber because I'm not, so I can't give you that result. But if I do gain some kind of like in a way strong value from either the YouTube channel or any of my
Yeah.
other experiments which I'm
Yeah.
running, I will definitely let you know. But yes, 4-hour work week is something I'm implementing right now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And the other question also, which guy is doing good, the Manhattan guy or the good, or in the poor place one? So see, this is what he talks about, right? It's not fair to say good and bad. It's a matter of choices. The problem is, we only if you measure these two people, like person A, person B, only based on their income, you will instantly say that the Manhattan guy is doing better. But if you look deeper into their lives and you compare it on all respects, income, expense, quality of life, health, relationships, how much time he gets to himself,
exactly.
maybe maybe he's a singer, he likes spending time singing. You never know. So in all these areas, you never know who is better and who is not. It depends on like on context. It's a matter of choice, but the thing is to understand both. So it's not good and bad, it's about understanding both sides of the
Yeah,
perspective.
there's lots of nuance in it, lots of details
Exactly.
in it.
Yes.
So lastly asked that which book are you talking about? We are talking about 4-hour work week.
Yes.
So what were we talking about? Like we were talking about that
So we were
concept, right?
talking
4-hour work
Yes,
week, geographical
So
economics.
correct. Economics. Yes.
So like you want to expand more on that, or there's
So
some-
geographical
yeah.
economics is like the example which we took is more than enough to explain. The other next form of economics which he also talks about is time-based economics. So what he tries to explain is that most of the times what we do is like the conventional route. In fact, it's very famous in India. Is that you complete your education by 21 or 23, get a job, you get married by 25, have kids by 30, work till you're 50, and then retire.
Yeah.
Right, this is the normal strain. So what we assume is that first we will earn the money, and once we earn the money, then we'll have time to live. But what he explains is, why not reverse it, right? Why not have time and money both equally at both points?
Exactly.
Because there are some things that you cannot do at the age of 60 that you can do like when you're 30. So then what will you do with the time? Because you have the money, but you don't have that time
You
back.
don't have the
so
time.
time in general is a more important resource. So what he explains is that everybody should have complete freedom from their wealth. So this is also a core part of the 4-hour work week, where you accumulate time and not wealth. Because if you've enjoyed your life from the age of 20 to 40, you will not beg for retirement. So you don't mind working till 70. But if you've slogged your life till 50, then at the age of 50, you're like, now I don't want all this. I want to rest now. So this is what he talks about, time-based economics.
So another flaw in this Indian system is that there's a lot of imbalance. So if you like divide, if you divide life in aspects like career, relationship, mental sanity, entertainment, your passion and hobbies.
Correct.
So how the Indian lifestyle is based on, it's all about career. It's all about money and stability, right? So there's a huge imbalance in life. So there's a concept of 1% in my channel. So it's like you have to excel in all that stuff at the very same time, and that's the only way you can live a very good quality life. So that's what I always preach about.
So you're saying you should excel at all areas of life, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. But the interesting thing about even what you mentioned now is that in India we only focus on career, right? The reason we do that is because most of our parents and the generations before that have seen extreme poverty. So they've seen that version of India that we haven't seen.
Their reality is
different. So they're scared, and plus the internet was not there, so they were not exposed to the West. Now our generation is seeing a much better India economically. At the same time, we're also exposed to exposure from the West and from Europe and all of these places.
But even So like even from the West, we are getting these views and thoughts about hustling and that this hustle culture.
Correct.
Right? So like these are very two extreme thoughts.
Absolutely.
And I don't personally I don't agree with the thought of hustle culture. What about you?
Even I don't absolutely. And the reason I say it so dominantly is because I've lived that and I've suffered. So I know that it doesn't work very well for you in a lot of ways for your mind. So hustle culture is toxic. Most of the people who talk about hustling, the reason they talk about it is because their identity is based on how much work they do. If your identity is based on how many hours you work, then the 4-hour work week will not suffice, right? Because you can't be telling yourself that I'm doing only 4 hours of work, because your identity is based on that. Whereas if your identity is based on the output that you create with those 4 hours, be it in your work life, be it in your business, or be it in your YouTube channel or whatever, now your identity is still reserved. So the mistake that hustle culture makes is that it is focused more on the hustle and less on the actual output. And your productivity is output upon input into 100, not just input into 100, right? So it's not just input, it is more about output versus input. So how much output can you gain by just putting X amount of input? So that is my view on hustle culture. And this is also a lot what Tim Ferriss talks about, because he used to sleep, he used to drink like 4 cups of coffee a day, and he used to spend all-nighters and all, and he drove himself absolutely crazy, and he could maintain the same business by only working like for 4 hours. So then what are you doing? Isn't hustle just stupid? If you can do the same thing, then what's the
but where these things are not applicable, especially in the jobs like medical field, where they are like they're working for more than 10 to 12 hours, they're seeing different patients, and more patients they see, more experience that they're getting. So I think so in that context, 4-hour week does not work. As you said, if your work is based on your identity, if someone's identity is doctor, then he can't apply 4-hour work week there.
Definitely. So 4-hour work week is not applicable to a lot of people. It is not for everybody. A lot of it's got a lot of backlash also in certain ways, like a lawyer or like a doctor. These people can't apply it, and that's fair.
And even an engineer for that matter, I think so.
No, engineers can. See, the thing is, See, the idea is that what he said in the book is that if you're working for a job for somebody else, obviously you cannot have the entire 4-hour work week because somebody else is controlling your time. So he has his entire system where he talks about, so he calls it deal, right? So he says always define, eliminate, automate, and liberate. But this is if you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But if you're a job seeker, if you have a job, then it's Della. So it is first define, then eliminate, then liberate for yourself, and then automate your life. So if you are in a job and you want to apply this entire concept, it will involve quitting your job. So that's a different, entire process. So you cannot apply the 4-hour work week being an engineer for a multinational company. What you can do is apply the 4-hour work week, quit your job, and have approximately the same income, and then live your life the way you want to.
So
it will
Raunak,
a lot of restructuring.
I just have an interesting question
I'm
for
done.
you. So like
Tell me,
if
tell
I
me.
give you a very hypothetical situation where everyone is applying 4-hour work week and everyone is quitting their job, and like there are entrepreneurs everywhere, like how would that world be? I mean, will we be able to sustain that kind of world where everyone is self-employed and
Okay, this is a very interesting question. This is sort of going away from the 4-hour work week in that sense, because in the 4-hour work week, it's very, very evident that it is not for everybody. So the whole world cannot work with everybody applying the 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
The 4-hour work week was primarily targeted to people who are living a life that they are not happy with their work life.
Yeah.
Right, which is most of the time engineers and entrepreneurs, because generally engineers are burdened by their job, by their boss, and entrepreneurs are burdened by themselves, by their business.
Exactly, yeah.
Because both are very heavy things to lift, right? So what happens is, so what, and to answer your question about being self-employed, there are ways that you can absolutely maintain a self-employed system, but we haven't reached that point yet. But it's called the gig economy, where everybody is a freelancer, right? Where if you are, like, for example, if you are a designer, you can wake up in the morning, go onto a tab, and choose different projects that you want to work on, apply the projects, get paid for it, and then move on to the next one. So you're not really working for somebody. And let's say you want to take a vacation, you cannot work for some time, you're not under anybody. And at the same time, suppose I am an entrepreneur and I need some design work to be done, I will go on the same website and look for a designer. So I will post my design and it will be done automatically. It's not yet applied very well, but this is the way he explains that yes, the gig economy or the freelancing economy can absolutely sustain itself in some areas. But medicine, absolutely not.
Absolutely
Law,
not.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
All of those things, no, for sure, no. For
So we have some interesting question by
Yes.
VS Golfer Bharat. You mean working or hustling in this age is not good? He's asking this.
So you want to take this up, or should I take it up?
Yeah, you can. You
Okay.
can, buddy.
So first of all, working hard and hustling are not exactly the same thing. If you see hustling is generally trying to force something that's not being able to, it's not moving on its own. Like that's what you call a hustle. In fact, you can even hustle as a verb is a very negative term, because it means hustling a person. Like if you shake a person too much, that's also called hustling somebody, or doing something wrong to somebody. So hustle is different, hard work is different. Should you work hard? Yes, but your work should demand you to work hard. For example, I'll take the example of Elon Musk. Now, when you talk about Elon Musk, everyone keeps talking about him working for 80 hours a week, which they call hustle. Now, the problem is he working very hard? Absolutely. But the reason he's working hard is because he's the frontline entity of 3 of the biggest startups today. So his work, his job, it demands 80 hours of his time. The job that you are doing is not that level. I'm assuming it's not that level, right?
Exactly,
So
man.
your
I mean,
work-
whenever these motivational
your-
speakers, they talk about that you just have to hustle 80 to 100 hours a week. I don't understand that what work will a normal person will do. yeah, you continue.
No, it doesn't. Absolutely, because your work should be, it should demand, if your work demands you to work that hard, that means the output that you're creating is so high. So when Elon Musk works for 80 hours, the amount of work that he does is insane. It is absolutely insane. So you should be proud of his output, not the fact that he's putting in 80 hours. So just because you are putting in 80 hours doesn't mean you'll become Elon Musk. You can put in 80 hours and still not achieve anything in your life. It's a dark thought, but it's true, right? So many people are unsuccessful, but it's a fact. It happens, right? So understand that The idea is to work hard, but work hard on creating output, not putting in input. Input is hustle, output is productivity, and that is how I would differentiate the two.
Exactly. Yes. So I made this video on hard work versus talent, and in that video I made 3-part series, and after the third part you can come to this conclusion that I am at neither of the side. I'm not on the side of talent, I'm not on the side of hard work, because what I feel is that you as your brain are a unique identity. So you have all the abilities that you can learn, right, but in different ratios. In different ratios. So there are certain things that you will need to work hard, or your brain will tell. But if you identify that one thing that's easy for you and enjoyable for you, then that hard work ceases to exist.
Absolutely. And even my stand on the whole hard work and talent thing is that the argument is actually illogical, and I'll tell you why. See, comparing hard work and talent is like asking a billionaire, do you want to buy a yacht or do you want to buy a plane? Why not both, right? If you can afford it, if you can do both, then why not both? Both have different purposes in your life. The need for hard work is very different, and the need for talent is very different.
Yeah.
And both are important in your life, and both are possible. So if both are possible in your life, the idea is not to choose between hard work and talent. It's the idea is to work hard on something that you're talented at, because that leads to skill, right?
Exactly.
So if either of the two things are not balanced, then you won't become skilled, and then you won't become successful. So why choose? Find what you're talented at, and then work relentlessly hard to convert an amateur talent into a short skill. That is how I would go against this whole argument, because it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. So that was my point, but I discussed this thing a few streams back, that the way world views talent is really absurd. The way world views talent is like you have an innate ability, but that's not possible, because you as a person come as a blank slate, right? Just imagine if Sachin Tendulkar never saw someone play cricket, how would he become a cricketer, right? Definitely. So that's not a gift. He saw somebody play cricket.
It's not a gift.
Just the thing that is that he learned quicker than other people. He learned it quicker than other people at a very small age, and that's the reason he's talented. He is called talented, and that's same thing with other people.
Absolutely, and this is also what even this actually ties up to Tim Ferriss's concept, because if you look at talent, it's not so much a function of your genetics or your genes or what your parents give you. It's more a function of means, or it's also called mimetics, which is how you copy from people. How do you learn from each other? What your environment is and how much you can learn from your environment.
Exactly.
So even in the 4-Hour Chef, which is another book by Tim Ferriss, he talks about finding the best of the best in the skill that you want to learn, and just learning how to do what they do. Because if somebody is very good at a particular skill, he's probably already found the most efficient way to execute that.
Exactly.
So naturally, it just makes sense to copy him. Everybody wants to reinvent the wheel, right? We want to try a new way of doing something. That's not the best way. If you want to learn from the best, copy him. Once you do that, then you can maybe find your own way.
Exactly. That's what I say through my channel. So like we'll come to that learning skill part in a moment.
Any other questions?
And in a moment,
how to send super chat? Okay, you want to take that? Okay. And brain hacks OP full part.
Yeah. So there was one more question I wanted to answer. Is a 4-week concept and deconstruct a skill concept different? Yes, obviously, but
yes,
it's
it is
different.
Yes.
It is different.
Both are by Tim Ferriss, but they are quite different from each other.
So what should we talk next? Like that skill part?
Okay,
because
so now we'll come to the main. No,
Go ahead. You go ahead, buddy. What were you talking about?
I wanted to know whether you want to go down the path of breaking down 4-hour work week a little deeper for the audience who hasn't read the book, or do you want to go on the skill part? Because skill part is slightly different.
No, 4-hour work week. We'll stick to that.
4-hour work week. Okay, great. So 4-hour work week, what he talks about is that there are essentially a few things that you need to do in the process of creating that income for yourself, which he goes into extreme detail to massive Plasticity in the book. Just to give you an overview, what he says is, first you need to define exactly what you need to do, right? It's very important to first understand what your expenses are, what your expense of living is, how much money do you really want to earn, what you want to invest, what you want to save, and what kind of a life that you want to live. So first, narrow down the income that you really need to execute, and at the same time start the process of learning, of understanding your own fears on execution. So suppose you're already in a job, you don't have to quit that job immediately to start a startup, right?
Exactly.
First try to start a startup on your own on the side, and learn how to eliminate all those fears of failure first. So that is in the defined part. Then he talks about elimination. Elimination is very interesting, right? Now he talks about how you can, most of the things that we do in life they don't need to be done at all. And this is where the biggest, most interesting argument of effective versus efficient comes, right? Efficient is doing things the right way. Effective is doing the right things. And that is far more important, right? Because if you're not effective, then you might be doing something very, very well, but then later on you'll realize it should not have been done in the first place. So you wasted your time, right? Even if you coded a very important, like even if you made a very good website, but if the website was not supposed to be made, you wasted your time.
Exactly.
Right? So that is where he talks about elimination. So find out what, and here he talks about the 80-20 rule also, which is like it's called the Pareto's principle, that 80% of output comes from 20% of input, and vice versa. Like 80% of the input goes beyond like only 20% of the output. So identify what that 80-20 is and learn to focus only on the 20% that's creating the 80% result. So if you're earning 100,000 rupees, the amount of effort that you're earning, the amount of effort you're actually putting to earn 100,000 is going to be very skewed. So find that 20,000 that creates 100,000 and do more of that. So that is where the 80-20 principle comes in.
I have like one more example for 80-20. So when I started my YouTube channel, and I made my first video, right? And for first 5 videos I used to like share it like crazy in every group, every social handle, everywhere, you know. But at the end of the day, what was giving me results was just sharing it at one place where the most traffic is coming from, right? So everything else is just my masturbation for my mind, that I am doing something, but it's not giving me result. So only 20% of the work that I was giving is giving me 80% of the result. That's all. That's the example I have.
Correct. Absolutely, it's a great example because it applies to distribution in a business also, right? Most of the 80% of your sales comes from 20% of the channels. So find what those 20% are and invest all your resources in that 20%. So then the 80% will increase. Otherwise, if you just go too wide, you'll spread yourself too thin, and that's what he talks about. Then he goes on to talk about automation, and this is also very, very interesting. In fact, this is the most technical part of the book, right? That you should take notes if you're reading this part of the book, where how you can create an automated source of income. So again, this is quite contrarian. I don't know whether everybody can apply this, but it's very interesting to think about. Where now with e-commerce coming in, with dropshipping coming in, it's very easy to connect suppliers and buyers. So now let's say if I know that XYZ product is something very interesting which I can sell through an Amazon affiliate website or through my blog or through any kind of online channel, what essentially I need to do is I need to buy the product from the supplier and ship it to the actual end buyer, right? So and in between of these two things, because I am the connection point between the buyer and the seller, the guy who's creating things in bulk versus the guy who wants to buy only one piece, I get to earn a lot of the margin. So I just need to create a source of income where I decide one product. He says find one niche that you have, right? He calls it a muse. So he says find one muse which you can dominate, right? Find one thing that you are absolutely skilled at or you have leverage in because of your knowledge. For him it was supplements, because he was an athlete in college, so he knew how to sell supplements. So he bought those supplements and he sold them online, right? Where he doesn't have to handle inventory, he doesn't have to handle a warehouse, he doesn't have to buy a shop. It's completely online, and you can even automate different processes of service and all, which was quite interesting. That you can have people. So he's in the US, right? So for him, like a $10 hour for an Indian in Bangalore is very cheap. So he used to hire people from India to attend his sales calls or to attend his service calls because they were very cheap, and in US like $10 an hour is nothing. So that's why he manages the entire automation of his business, where he requires only 4 hours a week to just overview everything is okay. Otherwise, he'll keep earning money without actually worrying about it at all. So that is the automation part. And then the fourth part is L for liberate. So that completes our word deal. Define, eliminate, automate, and liberate. And in liberate, he talks about how you can finally free yourself of all your baggage that you are holding on to either a job. So once your side hustle makes in enough money, you can quit your job and you can relax in life, right? Or if you're already having a business, you can automate that business and you can travel for a vacation with your wife or with your parents or whatever it is, and start enjoying your life a little bit, and be a little loose in terms of delegating your work very well. You have to learn how to delegate your work to other people. So this is what the meat and potatoes of the book is about.
Like Tim Ferriss, all in all, gives a very safe way. Like people are very often stuck in this debate of job or business. He says that why to have an option where you like have a way in middle. Like you can do a job and you can also have a side hustle, which once it grows, then you can quit your job basically.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we had some interesting question in middle. How Tim Ferriss gave you a direction in life? Raunak,
do you want to take that up?
Yeah, I'll take after you.
Okay, fine. How Tim Ferriss gave me a direction in my life. Okay, so this was actually very interesting to me because this was a time when my company had not worked out. So I had just like my startup had just failed, and obviously it was a very traumatic, it was a very hard time for me, right? And a lot of his concepts of fear setting helped me in that part of mine. And the way I ran my that particular business was completely flawed, right? I was making a lot of mistakes and I was like overworking myself. So a lot of these concepts of 4-hour work week and all, I have learned how to implement once that business didn't work out. So now the way I think about experiments, online businesses, or something new to start, if I ever do start, or the ones I've already started, I apply these things in life. So Tim Ferriss has helped me in two ways. One is on the psychological level of not being scared of the outcome, because I always do the fear setting. So every time before I start something new, be it a YouTube channel, be it like an affiliate website, or be it a business idea or whatever it is, always do like a strong set of fear setting. So that part is done. Now you're not scared anymore. After that, his principles of how you can automate things is also very, very interesting and very mentally relaxing for me. So that is how he gave me direction in my life.
So, see, as I said, I haven't read Tim Ferriss's work or his book in depth. I've just saw his video. So what I generally do is that when I see a video, I get a general idea about what he's trying to say, right? So I take those digestible ideas and try to apply it in my life, in my context.
Correct.
So in football context, what I did was deconstruction was a massive stuff. Like it helped me to boost my skill, and I got to like understand what are the essential skills. Plus I started to change my environment, the people I hang out with, so that I can learn a lot from my experienced players, right? So that's what I changed from my life. And all in all, the efficiency with which you should be living life is something which Tim Ferriss taught me. Yes. So what changes did you find in your practical life? Yeah, I already mentioned that. Raunak, I think so. You also mentioned that, right? What changes happened after you applied?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So what changes? Okay, I'll be slightly more specific with that answer. What changes happened? One is massive mental relaxation, right? You stop feeling guilty when you're not working hard. Otherwise, what happens is, like a lot of times because of hustle culture, if we just relax for 2 minutes, we feel guilty that I'm not working, that I'm not hustling. Right? So Tim Ferriss breaks that myth completely, and he's saying it's absolutely okay to relax at times and to not always be on full charge. And the second aspect is, as I mentioned, obviously you're not scared of anything because you've already set your fears straight. So it just eliminates fear in a very logical and a rational way. So those are two major changes that I saw.
So you know how I put it? I put it, there's one thing called as effort that you have to put. Then you have to rest. So rest is a part of effort. So what?
Definitely.
So if you're resting, you are working towards your goal. That's how I put it. Rest and effort.
Definitely.
So,
just like in football, you need to recover, right? If you're constantly
exactly.
just keep playing, it doesn't work. You need recovery.
Yeah, we are coming to that part only. So
Yes.
we will talk about skill learning and how he talks about learning skill faster. So like, in which book? I think so. 4-Hour Chef. He's talked
Chef.
about, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. Could you
Yeah.
just open up some
Sure.
concepts in that?
So I haven't read the book. It's on my list, so I don't know exactly what is there in it. However,
Okay.
he's made a lot of videos on the same concept. What
Yeah.
he's spoken about in the 4-Hour Chef. Where what he talks about, and this is actually going to be a video on my YouTube channel as well. It'll come out a bit later, on how to break down any skill into its bare elements, into its bare bones. Right.
Exactly.
The first part, what we already covered, is first and foremost invest time and money in trying to find out the person who is the best at the skill that you're trying to learn. Anything else is going to like just put you down a wrong path. So first go and find somebody who actually is as good as you wish to be at some point of time, and go and learn from him. So the next part is about actually understanding what makes you successful at a skill, and this he uses with a very interesting example of language. So he tries to learn a lot more languages than the average person. I think he knows around 10-12 of them. So the way he learns languages, the way he explains is that your idea of learning a language does not mean that you have to learn French to write a noble essay.
Exactly.
Your idea is conversational
language.
You should just be able to communicate in that language.
Yeah.
So generally most of communication is there through just some 50-60 words. If you understand those words and some proper nouns and all of that, you can basically communicate very decently in a new language. So that is what he talks about, that find those few things that make the most difference when you're learning the skill. And he talks about this in terms of dancing also. So even when he wanted to be a dancer, I think he was in
he was firstly a break dancer in MTV. He was also a tango dancer. So yeah.
Tango, yes, that's what I was coming to. So when he was learning tango, he tried to understand what are those things about tango that really make the biggest difference. And I'm going to focus on those first. Whatever the other things are, we can leave that for the pros. We don't need to do that right now. That's the second point. Then the third point, what he talks about is is practicing in low stake situations. So when he was training to be a chef, he wanted to be able to sort of spin vegetables very well, like when you're making an omelette or when you're making an egg.
Kind of used the ceramic knife, right? He started using ceramic knife, so that he won't. The
that
stakes
also.
Are less.
Correct. That also, and he started using the pan with some marbles off the gas. So in case it falls, it's just going to fall on the floor, right? So the stakes are very low, and you can practice, make mistakes until you don't make mistakes, and then you add the stress of a real life situation.
Exactly.
So these are the few points which I know, which he spoke about in the 4-Hour Chef about skill learning.
Nice. So you want to go deeper in that?
This is all I know, to be honest. I would love to go deeper, but I would have to read the book for that. This is all I know about his skill learning.
Okay. So basically, when I saw his video on this, he described it like this: deconstructing, and I was something I don't know. Sequencing, then there was stakes. You have to maintain low stakes, and this is pretty much it. So yeah, man, that really helped. But there was one flaw in it. The idea is that you can get all the points. So when you learn a skill, you learn that skill, and you also develop some sort of attributes or some sort of mental models. So when you go to a person who's already good at it, he will give you all that mental models. But now the challenge is you have to put that mental models from your conscious brain to your subconscious, so that they become your second nature. So now the ideas of Andrew Huberman comes handy. Okay, so this is what I advise you guys. Like, you just don't follow one person. You can take knowledge from multiple people. You can combine it and make it your own theory. So what I did was, if you all that what Tim Ferriss says is great. You can follow it, but there's one small step that you need to add is brain plasticity, which will come in my future video. So this general
Definitely.
idea about brain plasticity is that as you are a child, the brain plasticity is more, and as you age it becomes less and less. I say it's bullshit. Hear me out on this. Brain plasticity when you are a child, it's automatic. As you grow old, it becomes manual. I'll say it again. Brain plasticity when you are a child, it's automatic. Your nature is helping you for learning skills. As you grow old, it becomes manual. So you need to do some things to activate, and what you need to do, I'll say that in my future videos. So yeah.
Definitely. I think so. It's very important to understand that your intelligence and your neuroplasticity is not limited. It is very much. It can be increased. The reason people don't increase it is because they lock their identity into some kind of work they do. So because if you stop making yourself feel uncomfortable, right? Because think about it. In school and college, you have to study to pass the exam, even though you don't like the subject, right? So you're constantly making yourself uncomfortable, and you're improving your brain strength over time. But after college, people get very like mundane in their work life. So because you are not creating that positive stress in your mind, you are giving the excuse that your brain cannot grow. It can grow. You are not growing it.
Yeah, as I said, it's manual. It's a choice that you're making it. It's when you keep your brain stagnant, it will. It's like a muscle. It will become weaker and weaker day by day.
Yep.
So what more can we talk about Tim Ferriss now? There was one book, right? Tim Ferriss, work with body.
For our body. For our body, yeah. So for our body is again. Yeah, sorry. Tell me. Go ahead.
Could you just put some light on it? That's all I'm.
Yeah, sure. So for our body is so just like his other books, for our body is also like Tim Ferriss's way of being a rebel to the health and fitness industry, and explaining people that you don't have to spend 3 hours in the gym every day and track everything that you're eating and all of that to have a good body. So he's created some crazy experiments which like even I don't remember to the like extreme detail around weightlifting, around bodybuilding, around fat loss, around diets, and even about his sexual health also. So he talks a lot about sex, the dark, the dirty, the real. He gets into real details because people have had problems with that also, a lot of men especially, right? So he talks about a lot of those concepts in his book. The ones that he talks about in nutrition are particularly fascinating because they are really implementable, but you have to implement them only after like a doctor's guidance, which is what he also talks about. Don't just implement them. Weight training, honestly, I have not implemented them, so I don't know, but they're definitely very interesting because you know the kind of training that he recommends is much lesser in volume and it's not a lot, but he's got some great results. In fact, that book, that particular blog post that he wrote about his body transformation, it's called Geek to Freak, which it went viral. Everybody's seen it, and because of that he got a lot of attention to his blog and all of that. So that was very interesting in the book. And as I mentioned, the end of the book, it talks about sex from the perspective of a man. So how men can learn about sex when they're having sex with women. That's in general what the book is about.
Nice. So I think so we are done, and I think so it's time we should be ending the stream. It's almost 1.5 hours. We started at 6:30 almost because before stream also we were talking. It was really a pleasure talking to you, man. I learned a lot, and I used to see this world in one particular lens, and this was one stream where like I got a different perspective, and I hope anyone who's watching this stream till now has gained a lot of value, and I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Another thing, I have linked his channel in the description, guys. Right now just go to his channel, subscribe. मेरे जो वर्ड की वैल्यू रखो यार, कभी मैं बोलता हूँ तो जाया करो. उसके 500 सब्सक्राइबर तो होने चाहिए. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys. Please come and follow me. I'm sure you like the content, and stay tuned. There's lots more coming.